The old world order rested on a simple agreement. It was made in 1974. The United States, Saudi Arabia, shook hands on a deal. Oil, the lifeblood of the global economy, would be priced in US dollars. Any country that needed to buy oil would first need to buy dollars. This arrangement, known as the Petrodollar system, was born. It was not a treaty signed in public. It was a quiet understanding that would echo for half a century. It created a constant, artificial demand for the American currency. It ensured that the dollar would not just be America's money, it would be the world's money. This system became the foundation of American financial power. It meant the U.S. could print money to pay its bills, and the rest of the world would absorb it. Nations had to hold vast reserves of dollars to secure their energy needs. This propped up the dollar's value. It allowed the United States to run large trade deficits without immediate consequence. For 50 years, this was the unspoken rule of global finance. The world ran on oil, and oil ran on dollars. The system seemed permanent. It seemed unbreakable. But all systems eventually face a test. That test is now here. The petrodollar system gave the United States extraordinary power. It was a privilege no other nation enjoyed. Because the world needed dollars to buy oil, central banks worldwide had to stockpile U.S. currency. This created a captive market for U.S. government debt. The U.S. Treasury could issue bonds, and it knew there would always be buyers. This allowed the American government to borrow cheaply and finance its spending, domestic programs, its vast military. It was, in effect, a global subsidy. The United States controlled the plumbing of the global financial system. Most international transactions, especially those in dollars, passed through American banks or systems like SWIFT. This gave Washington a powerful weapon: sanctions. The U.S. could cut off a country's access to the dollar system, effectively isolating it from the global economy. This tool was used to pressure rivals and enforce foreign policy goals. The dollar was not just a currency. It was an instrument of statecraft, a single dominant currency for the world's most important commodity simplified trade. It created a common language for global commerce. Prices were predictable. Contracts were straightforward. This dollar-centric world was the only one most people knew. It was the default setting for international business. Banks, corporations, governments built their entire operations around this reality. The dollar's dominance was self-reinforcing. The more it was used, the more indispensable it became. The unshakable system is now showing its age. A series of deliberate actions, once unthinkable, are chipping away at its foundation. These are not random events. They are calculated moves by major global players. In recent years, Saudi Arabia, the linchpin of the original deal, has pivoted. It accepted an invitation to join the BRICS group of nations in 2024. More importantly, it joined Project Bridge, a cross-border payment platform co-developed with China and others. This platform uses digital currencies, including the digital yuan, to settle trades directly, creating a path for oil sales that completely bypasses the US dollar and the SWIFT system. Other nations are moving even more boldly. Russia, facing Western sanctions, accelerated its de-dollarization efforts. As far back as March 2023, President Putin declared the Chinese yuan his preferred currency for trade. Russian oil is now sold for rubles to friendly nations. India, a massive energy importer, has begun settling some of its Russian oil purchases in its own currency, the rupee. These are no longer isolated experiments. They are becoming standard practice for a growing bloc of countries seeking to reduce their dependence on a financial system controlled by a geopolitical rival. The tools of American power are being turned against it. The most dramatic challenge is unfolding in the Strait of Hormuz. Following the conflict that began in early 2026, Iran has taken a radical step. It is now demanding that tolls for passage through the critical waterway be paid in Chinese yuan. Some reports even suggest Tehran is considering allowing oil tankers through only if their cargo is traded in yuan. This is a direct, confrontational challenge to the petrodollar's supremacy. It leverages a geographic choke point to force the use of an alternative currency. It is a move born of conflict, but its implications are purely financial. Oil prices have soared, but the more significant shock is to the currency system itself. As the old system cracks, a new one is being built. It is not one single system, but a collection of parallel networks designed to operate beyond the dollar's reach. The BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, new members, are at the forefront. They are developing BRICS Pay, a decentralized messaging system for cross-border payments. A prototype was demonstrated in late 2024. The goal: allow member countries to trade directly using their own national currencies without converting to dollars first. This would insulate them from U.S. sanctions and dollar volatility. China, CIPS, Russia, SPFS. Still smaller than SWIFT, but growing. Banks can communicate and settle without touching U.S. infrastructure. Platforms like Project M-Bridge processed over $55 billion by late 2025. They form the technical backbone of a new, multipolar financial world. This is the plumbing for a post-dollar era. Another key component is the rise of central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs, digital versions of a country's official currency issued and backed by the central bank. China is a leader with its digital yuan pilot. India proposes linking BRICS CBDCs to create seamless corridors for trade and tourism. While no major BRICS country has fully launched a CBDC yet, the pilot programs are advancing. A network of linked digital currencies would create a real-time, state-controlled settlement layer entirely independent of the legacy system dominated by the West. The petro-yuan, China's currency to price and settle oil. Sanctioned countries like Russia, Iran were the first adopters out of necessity. Now, even allies explore it, to trade with China without the political risks of the dollar, a commodity for digital settlement model. The new systems aren't yet a threat to day-to-day dollar dominance, but they are active, functional, and growing. A world where the petrodollar is no longer dominant would be a profoundly different place. Well, you know. For the United States, the end of this privilege would have significant consequences. The constant global demand for dollars would decrease. This would likely cause the dollar's value to fall relative to other currencies, relative to goods. As the dollar weakens, the cost of imports for American consumers would rise, fueling domestic inflation. The U.S. government would also find it more expensive to finance its debt. Foreign nations, no longer needing to hold as many dollars for oil, would be less willing to buy U.S. Treasury bonds, forcing interest rates higher. The transition would create a global reshuffling of financial power. Nations that successfully build and adopt alternative payment systems would gain economic sovereignty. China, as the issuer of the primary alternative currency, would see its global influence rise significantly. Oil exporting nations in the Middle East and elsewhere would have more leverage, able to choose which currency they accept. They could balance their relationships with the East with the West, playing competing powers against each other. This would mark the end of the unipolar financial era and the beginning of a more fragmented multipolar one. However, the process would not be smooth. The global financial system is deeply interconnected. A rapid decline of the dollar could trigger instability. Holders of trillions in dollar assets would see values diminish. Global trade could become more complex and costly as businesses navigate multiple currency systems. For decades, the dollar was the safe haven asset, bonds. If the petrodollar erodes, that status would be challenged. Investors might seek safety in a basket of currencies, in hard assets like gold. The U.S. would lose its role as the world's financial anchor. Its ability to project power through sanctions would be severely weakened. A world less dependent on the dollar is a world where American influence is diminished. The end of the petrodollar is not just an economic event, it is a geopolitical one. In any great economic shift, there are clear winners and losers. If the petrodollar system continues to weaken, the primary winner would be China. As the issuer of the yuan, the main challenger currency, its economic and political stature would grow. The internationalization of the yuan would allow China to settle trade in its own currency, reducing its reliance on dollar reserves, insulating it from U.S. financial pressure. It would be able to finance its own deficits more easily, extend its influence through currency swap lines and development loans denominated in yuan, moving from rule taker to rule maker. Other winners would include major commodity exporters, Russia, Gulf states. They would gain the flexibility to price their goods in a variety of currencies, aligning economic interests with geopolitical relationships. A Saudi Arabia able to sell oil in yuan to China and in dollars to Europe would have far more strategic autonomy. Resource-rich BRICS could trade within a closed-loop system, integrating deeper and reducing vulnerability to sanctions, less subject to U.S. monetary policy. The primary loser would be the United States. The erosion of the petrodollar would mean the loss of what has been called an exorbitant privilege, The U.S. would face higher borrowing costs, a weaker currency, persistent inflationary pressures. Its ability to fund its massive military and social spending through debt would be constrained. The effectiveness of sanctions would be dramatically reduced. American households would face higher import prices and interest rates, mortgages, credit cards. Countries with large dollar debts could see crises. U.S. allies like Japan and parts of Europe would face difficult adjustments, caught between U.S. security and China-BRICS trade. Every nation would reassess alliances. In a time of financial transition, individuals should focus on preserving wealth. The goal is not to predict the future, but to prepare for a range of outcomes. A sensible first step is diversification. This means not holding all of your assets in one currency or one type of investment. For centuries, gold has been a store of value outside of any single government's control. Owning physical gold, whether as coins or bars, provides a tangible hedge against currency devaluation and inflation. It is a form of financial insurance that has stood the test of time. It sits outside the digital banking system. Another modern alternative is Bitcoin, much newer and far more volatile than gold, designed as a decentralized asset with a fixed supply and free from central bank control. Approach it with caution, high risk within a diversified portfolio. Its value isn't tied to any single country. For some, a digital version of gold. For others, speculative. Beyond currencies and digital assets, tangible property remains a cornerstone. Productive farmland, rental properties, your own home. Hard assets tend to hold value during inflation. They provide utility and can generate income during economic stress. Own assets with intrinsic, real-world use, not just paper claims. This is a classic strategy in monetary uncertainty. Finally, manage your debts carefully. Large debt in a currency that strengthens versus your income can be dangerous. Debt in a weakening currency can become easier to pay off. Maintain a strong personal balance sheet. Liquid savings, manageable debt levels, a diversified set of assets. You don't need to be a currency expert. Take prudent, logical steps so your financial foundation isn't dependent on a single system that is showing clear signs of strain. The 1974 Petrodollar Agreement created an era of unprecedented American financial power. For 50 years, the dollar's central role in the global oil market was a fact of life. It shaped geopolitics, financed American deficits, and served as the anchor of the world economy. That era is now drawing to a close. This is not alarmism, it is an observation of fact. The moves by Saudi Arabia, the rise of the petro-yuan, the construction of alternative payment systems like bridge, the direct challenges from nations like Russia and Iran are not isolated incidents. They are symptoms of a deep structural shift. The world is actively building an exit ramp from the dollar-dominant system. The decline will not happen overnight. The dollar's dominance is vast and deeply embedded. Its markets, laws, and institutions are unparalleled. It will likely remain the most important currency for years to come. But its monopoly is over. The future is one of financial multipolarity, a dollar bloc, a yuan bloc, and perhaps others, more complex and potentially less stable. Power will be more diffuse. The United States will have to compete on a more level playing field, stripped of the exorbitant privilege it once took for granted. This is the new reality taking shape. For individuals, the message is not to panic, but to pay attention. The slow unwinding of the petrodollar system will have real-world consequences. It will affect the value of your savings, the cost of goods, and the geopolitical landscape. The practical steps are timeless. Diversify your assets, hold tangible value like gold, hold tangible value like property, manage your debts, and stay informed. The rules of the game are changing, and those who understand the shift will be better prepared to navigate the world that comes next. The quiet deal that defined the last half-century has been broken. The story of what replaces it is now being written. We stand at a historic juncture,